Entrepreneur Weekly interviews the brilliant leaders of today in order to provide a stepping stone of wisdom on the journey to personal business ownership. Now, here's your host, Alan Taylor.
Today we're broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show 2020. Trying to find entrepreneurs, startups, companies that are doing it, that are out in the world, taking the chance, rolling the dice, so to speak, here in Las Vegas. And then there's people that are helping those people to do that. I'm going to talk to a few of those too. Like Bardi Toto. She is, and I'm saying that right? Is it T-O-T-O?
Yes, you are.
Because you never know. Somebody can say, no, it's Toto, Toti.
Oh, I get called Tutu also.
Tutu, see, I don't want to screw it up. Disrupt your brand. She has a book out, Power of Asking, and also a brand new book coming out called?
Disrupt Your Brand, and also Kids for Gratitude.
Boy, you're busy. Busy lady.
Help and inspire kids to become leaders.
Good
in
for
this
you.
day and age. And then Disrupt Your Brand is all about becoming a disruptor, going against the grain for entrepreneurs and whoever to do something that nobody else is doing.
Well, also, I know that you have a son in the military. Thank you and him for his service and your sacrifice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
Being a military mom.
No, there's no question about it. I have a young man that lives with me since he was about 12 or 13 years old. And when he turned 18, he wanted to join the military. So he did. And he became a Army Ranger. And he was a little guy. Put on 50 pounds of muscle in 2 years. Came home, wasn't a little guy anymore. I mean, was like this fire plug of a guy. I mean, solid. But he came home after 2 years because he almost died on a final mission before they were going to be, kind of going out into the wild blue yonder and doing amazing things that special forces do, because he put his backpack down in the desert close to an anthill and he got stung 1,000 times by ants and he almost died. And guess what?
Geez.
Yeah. When you're stung that many times, you become sensitized to it, and that means you cannot be a special forces anymore because you're allergic now to ant bites.
Geez.
So basically, he got a full medical retirement, and he's bummed out by it because all he wanted in his life was to be in the military and to do something good for this country, and I salute him for that too. Jack Christensen is his name.
My son started when he was 12 as a young Marine. It was his dream, and so now he is a Marine.
Wow.
He's stationed in Hawaii,
Awesome.
and where I grew up, and it's amazing. He's taught me more about communication. They really teach people how to be a team.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, even myself, I learn something from my son daily. The stuff that he talks about and teaches me is unreal.
So let's talk about Disrupt Your Brand. Please send my thanks to him when you see him.
I sure will.
But Disrupt Your Brand, a new book going to be coming out. That is your brand. What is the beginning point when somebody comes to you and says, Bardi, B-A-R-D-Y-I.
B-A-R-D-I.
Yeah. See, I even got it wrong. But when people hear me say, what did he say her name was? Bardi.
Like
Okay?
Bacardi.
There you go. Bardi Toto. But where do you start with people?
What I'm known for all over the world is I live my life by gratitude, whether it's in my business or my personal life. I've talked about it for the past few years that nobody is doing on the internet. Gary Vaynerchuk, who we met a couple weeks ago in New York, we talked about it. He's all about kindness. I'm all about gratitude. I've been interviewed in Fox News, some other, TV and, magazines on how I've implemented gratitude in my business. And people are like, how can you implement gratitude in your business? It's kind of like how to sell without selling, Making a comment on social media makes you stand out, but the 98% says they'll just like and retweet something, but that doesn't get you attention. And also, having more of an interest in other people than you do yourself. For the past 13 years, my PR firm, all the publicity I've had, people who've endorsed me, the collaborations I've had have been insane, like billion-dollar connections. Like, I haven't spent a dime. It's all been through social media using asking and gratitude. So the book, The Power of Asking, has nothing to do with social media, but I teach people how to stand out with their brand, whether they're an entrepreneur, author, musician, have a Fortune 500 company, whatever.
Well, let's take a little break. We're going to come back and maybe you can teach some of our listeners here on Entrepreneur Weekly. We're talking with Bardi Toto. She has a company, Disrupt Your Brand. She's got a new book coming out with the same name. She's also got another one, The Power of Asking. And she's got a son in the military, so I like it. I'm Alan Taylor. This is Entrepreneur Weekly. We'll be right back. Well, you're listening to Entrepreneur Weekly. I'm Alan Taylor. Thanks for joining us. Our guest right now, The Power of Asking. Her company is Disrupt Your Brand. That's a new book she's got coming out too. Bardi Toto. Okay, so if you had that 5 minutes in front of, 300,000 or 400,000 people, what you do right now, what do you say to people? How do you teach people how to have gratitude? First of all, you said you live by gratitude. I totally get that. That is like one of the top 5 most important things in life is gratitude, humility, integrity, things like that. But where do you start, Bardi?
I've implemented it. People say, it comes from saying thank you. I mean, gratitude to me starts in the home. That's where we teach kids how to become leaders. But I implemented gratitude into business, and I teach other entrepreneurs and businesses how to implement gratitude. And I can give you an example. Some of the things I tell people is asking is a form of gratitude. People don't get that. The Power of Asking, my first book.
Because it takes a certain amount of humility to ask to begin with.
Exactly.
So that's two of those most important things.
Asking is a form of gratitude. When you ask, you're allowing another to give back to you. If you don't ask, you're not allowing somebody to give back. Now, some people say asking is rude, depending upon their culture, how they're domesticated, the way they're trained to ask. There's two sides. Some people are afraid to ask. Some people don't have a problem asking, but they have a problem receiving. One of the things I teach on social media, I'll give you an example. I tell people, a friend request is an ask. Ask big. We all put our pants on the same way. And people say, but I don't know the person. Well, when you went to that entrepreneurial conference or personal development conference or whatever conference, you didn't know those people either. And you get there and you start talking and you're like, can I have a business card? What do you do? Let's collaborate. Well, it's the same thing on social media. A friend request, which is an ask them to become your friend. Most people will say yes to you because somebody said yes to them. People don't get it. It's like they're intimidated by somebody much higher in notoriety, or somebody has reached a certain level of monetization that they haven't. And so they're intimidated by them. So one thing with gratitude is it starts with an ask, a friend request. And then once on social media, make a comment, find something about that person, whether it's their post, whether it's something they say, and 5 seconds it takes. I really like your post. I love what you're doing. Keep up the good work.
Make it personal.
Exactly. Have more of an interest in somebody else than you do yourself, and you'll be unusually successful.
Right there. That was the key right there.
Yeah.
Have more interest in somebody else than you do your own self. Stop being so, such a narcissist and so selfish and so me, and care about others. And it's not easy. It's really not easy.
No.
It's not, human beings are naturally
me.
Yeah, it's just not
the 2-year-old creed.
Exactly. So to learn how to be a giver in a world of takers, you do stand out.
Yeah, and so what I've strived for myself and what I teach my clients and my social media and my branding clients, no matter what they do for a living, is, have more of an interest in somebody else. But Bardi, I need to make money now. You don't get it. And I'm like, if you start with gratitude, the money will follow. Loyalty first, and the money will come. But don't do it because you have a motive or some hidden agenda. Really, for instance, I tell people to write down a list of 20 people they would really like to know on social media. 20 people, big people. I mean, go big, untouchable people.
Right.
And contact them, add them as a friend, make a comment. The comment will stand out because it's top in their feed, but it's also a form of user gratification. People like to feel warm and fuzzy. And so they'll look at the comments, but they're not going to look at the likes and the retweets.
Right.
Liking and retweeting is lazy. I'm one of these people, I say it bluntly. Making a comment, it's like, great post. I really like what you're doing. That took me 5 seconds to type. That 5 seconds, the things that I've done, all the media I've been on, everything, and I don't say that to impress people, but to impress upon them. The return on investment is not about the money, it's the opportunities. It's like how you and I met. We met through social media, through a mutual friend on Instagram, and how I've met other people. It's been Instagram, Twitter. You know, how I've worked with the Dallas Cowboys is Twitter, Instagram. It was not Facebook people. Mine all started with YouTube.
Right.
You know.
So let me ask you then. You coach? What do you do? I mean, you're a writer. You got so much going on.
Look at you.
Marketing. I know. Well, we're entrepreneurs.
I mean, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Okay, yes, I'm an author of The Power of Asking.
Okay. Where can that be found, by the way?
On Amazon.
Okay.
The Power of Asking is on Amazon. Disrupt Your Brand and Kids for Gratitude has not yet come out. It's coming out in January of 2020, which is now, of course, in a couple of weeks. People can follow me on Instagram at Bardi Toto, but I coach people, mentor people on branding and social media. And I have another secret.
Oh, don't go anywhere. She's got a secret. We're going to take a little break. From Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show, Entrepreneur Weekly. We'll be right back.
In a bag, I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on.
You're listening to Entrepreneur Weekly. Now, here's your host, Alan Taylor.
From our vantage point, we can see all kinds of people and booths and stuff, but we can't see but about 1/100th of 1% of what is the Consumer Electronics Show. I mean, there's a couple 100,000 people here. I think 2.5 million square feet in this particular facility at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Technology is running our world these days. I'm so happy for the technology that I have to be able to do this show in such a small little, almost a backpack size setup, to be able to do video and radio and broadcast to the world. It's because of the advances in technology. I'm Alan Taylor. This is Entrepreneur Weekly. Our guest right now is Bardi Toto. She is the author of a couple of books, Power of Asking, and the newest one coming out, Disrupt Your Brand. That is the name of her company too. And you had something with kids?
Yes, Kids for Gratitude. Inspiring kids to be leaders for tomorrow.
That's awesome, by the way. You said you had a secret.
A couple of secrets.
Okay.
All right, 2 things. Disrupt Your Brand, when I first started writing the book, it was going to be about branding and social media. And then as I was writing, I started thinking that, I can teach people social media and branding. Even yourself, you can teach people all these things, but the one thing, if they cannot get past this one thing, will not work for them, and that is resistance. And so when I was in New York a few weeks ago with Gary Vaynerchuk, we talked about resistance and how people can overcome that. And that's the one thing I want people to think about today, is the one thing stopping you and making social media. I hear so many excuses about I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm not technical, all this stuff. If you're not on social media, your business is not going to work. It's actually going to fail. You've got to get out there to the masses. I mean, I'm going to tell you something about me that you don't know. I was a nurse. And the reason I bring that up, I took the love of helping other people onto the internet. My dream was to be an entrepreneur and own a marketing and branding company. I literally took a 50-foot telephone line in a closet on base housing 20 years ago. My ex-husband was military. Started my own company, and I found someone who knew more than I did, and I said, teach me how to run rather than crawl. And I'm self-taught and started my own company, and it blew up from there. But if I had never gotten out there on YouTube and social media, I would never be where I am today. And I would never have what I have today or be able to inspire the millions of people I have.
You know what's fun about people like you is you're very authentic. You're not an intellectual. You're not spewing a bunch of factoids at me. And it's more like, this is my life. I've lived it. I've learned the hard way because I had to figure it out for myself. My father taught me something very, very interesting, and I'll teach it right this moment. What is 1 and 1?
2.
How do you know? Right? Okay, how do you know? Because your teachers taught you, right?
Right.
So my dad is a very spiritual guy, and he says to me, now ask me the same thing. So you ask me.
What's 1 and 1?
2.
Okay.
How do you know? Because I can see it to be true. right? There's a difference between learning something and taking somebody's word for it and learning something through experience that you know. My grandmother used to say, "This I know." So what you know, Bardi, is stuff that you know at a cellular level because you have lived it. It's not something you were taught. It's something that you know because you learned it through experience. That is so valuable. That's why I think, when somebody comes to work for you and every now and then you just throw them under the bus and say, I don't know, figure it out for yourself. They will learn more. And that, first of all, you're giving them trust.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to give you a little line here, a little leeway. I'm going to trust you. Try and figure this one out. You come to me and give me some good ideas. I love doing that because then I'm allowing that person to grow at a much more almost spiritual level. Is there such thing as a spiritual business level? Yes, there is. I believe there is. A business has a spirit. Otherwise, it's just mechanical. You know what I mean? Business has the spirit of the people that are behind it and what they put into it. And so I have employees that I let them do that every now and then. Sometimes they're like, oh, no, just tell me what to do. And I'm like, no, because you know what? I don't know either. Just go out and see what you can do. Make something happen. Let's see if you can come up with a great idea. And I'm telling you what, 8 out of 10 times they come up with great ideas. Empower your people. That's basically what I do. That with my children, do that with my family members. If you just are the Bible answer man all the time, then people can't think for themselves. We've got to learn how to think for ourselves. You thought for yourself. I love that about you.
You know, it's funny. I'll say this really quick. People come up to me all the time. They're like, how did you get Michael Beckwith to write the foreword of your book? How did you get involved with this person?
You
and Gary
just,
Van-
hold on. What's that book? The Power of Asking. Thank you.
Yeah, and also disrupting. And the other secret I have to share is, I looked out at the internet back in 2009 and everyone was on Facebook and Twitter. And I said, I don't want to be just on Facebook and Twitter. I want to go out to millions. So I actually partnered with a software company. It's not Hootsuite. This has been a while back where I post about 40 different social networking and social bookmarking sites daily. One, to get you higher ranking, higher indexing in Google. I don't want to drink from the same watering trough that everybody else is drinking from, which is Facebook and Twitter. I wanted to get out there to the masses. So I still do that on a daily basis. I don't manage all of them. It's something that we, offer our clients. I post one site and it goes out to everywhere. It's kind of like podcasting. Now we can syndicate to all these different platforms.
You have a podcast too, don't you?
Disrupt your brand on iTunes.
Too easy, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to send people to your website, which is?
It's barditotomedia.com,
Okay.
and then they can find me on Instagram at Bardi Toto. Best way to reach me.
BARDITOTO.
On Instagram.
All right, Bardi, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for coming over to us here at the Consumer Electronics Show. I'm Alan Taylor. More disruptors here in Las Vegas. We'll be right back.